concise response. General McKenzie, on August 30th, you told the media that while you maintained the ability to bring American citizens and civilians out until immediately before the departure of the final flight, no civilians were on those aircraft, and that mission ended approximately 12 hours before the exit. So to clarify, when did the last American citizen successfully pass through Taliban perimeter into HKIA gate?
That's a very specific question. I'll have to come back to you on the record, but I will come back to you.
Thank you. And when did the last Afghan civilian successfully pass through the gate?
Same thing. It was some hours before, but I'll come back to you with an exact time on that.
And how many individuals successfully passed through the Taliban perimeter in the 72 hours preceding the departure of the final flight?
Probably in the low hundreds, but I'll come back to you with an exact number.
Thank you. I understand that on August 19th, ground commanders authorized the use of helicopters to rescue 169 Americans from the Barone Hotel after the initial plan for them to proceed on foot became too dangerous. At what time were rotary wing aviation assets no longer operation at HKIA?
So first of all, you're right. The Barron Hotel, we should note, is about 200 meters off the HKIA compound. So it's not a long distance, but we did use helicopters for that. We kept helicopters up until the very end. In fact, one of the final things we did before actually extracting from the C-17s was breaking down some helicopters and loading them.
And what were the specific contingency plans to continue the evacuation if the Taliban closed checkpoints surrounding the airport?
So at all times, we were prepared to accept American citizens that were able to make it to the gate. There was an external Taliban cordon. We've talked about that. The external Taliban cordon was actually part of the force protection scheme for the base. Commanders on the ground had to balance their force protection against the need to allow Americans, SIVs, and others to enter. So we tried to work closely when we could with the Taliban to ensure free passage for Americans. I would tell you,
why then were the plans not implemented once it became clear that no additional American citizens were going to be allowed to pass through the Taliban checkpoints?
We attempted to, with the Taliban, to allow Americans to be able to get to the gate up until the very end. I do not have facts on why that did not happen. Our presence on the ground then, we should remember, it was very small, and we were beginning to turn inward as we prepared to extract.
Okay. General Milley, in 2017, the GAO released a report on recommendations to enhance the readiness of the Global Response Force to support contingency operations. In June of 2021, GAO assessed that the department had not implemented any of their 3 recommendations to improve readiness due to the ongoing development of the dynamic force employment concept. So I'm curious, what percentage of the total immediate response force and existing pre-positioned forces deployed in support of Operation Spartan Shield were deployed to HKIA to assist in the NEO? And how many additional battalions intended to be in IRF follow-on force were available for short notice deployment but not deployed?
We had, and Frank can correct me to 100% here in a minute, but we had 2 battalions, the MEU, and another Marine battalion pre-positioned in the Middle East, along with an Army infantry battalion pre-positioned in the Middle East, and there was a battalion already on the ground. So that's 4. Plus, we alerted on the Secretary's order, marshaled and deployed the IRF and the GRF, which is a brigade of the 82nd Airborne Division, very, very rapidly, and we had 6,000 troops at HKIA very, very rapidly. I think we far exceeded any of the standards that are published for the GRF or the IRF. In addition to that, we had a variety of high-end special operations forces that alerted, marshaled, and deployed extraordinarily rapidly. So we easily met any kind of rapid deployment standards, and we exceeded them.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your service to our military men and women and to our veterans who've served over the 20 years during this longest war in history, U.S. history. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.